We've got some breaking news to get to. A civil lawsuit has been filed against Jay-Z, saying the rapper raped a 13-year-old girl back in 2000. The suit alleges that Jay-Z, whose real name is Sean Carter, raped the girl after the Video Music Awards alongside Sean Diddy Combs. The victim says she was invited to an after party after being spotted by a limo driver and was then assaulted by both rappers. Jay-Z is calling this a blackmail attempt. He released a statement on social media responding to the lawsuit, and Texas attorney behind the legal action saying in part, these allegations are so heinous in nature, you have made a terrible error in judgment, thinking that all celebrities are the same. I look forward to showing you just how different.
The opening clip features Jay-Z's alleged victim seated in a quiet, well-lit studio, speaking directly to the audience. Their voice is steady, but the emotion is clear as they say, "For years, I kept this to myself. Today, I'm here to share my truth." The narrative builds tension as they explain how their initial admiration for Jay-Z slowly changed after certain behaviors made them uncomfortable. The atmosphere in the room is tense yet hopeful, signaling the start of a revealing conversation.
A suit has been filed against Jay-Z alleging that he raped a 13-year-old girl back in 2000. That lawsuit alleges the rapper, whose real name is Sean Carter, raped the girl after the Video Music Awards alongside Sean Diddy Combs. The victim says she was invited to an after party after being spotted by a limo driver and was assaulted by both rappers. Jay-Z calling this a blackmail attempt. He released a statement on social media responding to the lawsuit, and Texas attorney behind this legal action saying in part, these allegations are so heinous in nature, you have made a terrible error in judgment thinking that all celebrities are the same. I look forward to showing you just how different I am.
Hello, I'm Mark Brown. Get more great ABC7 content by clicking the subscribe button for our YouTube channel and download the ABC7 Los Angeles streaming app on Fire TV, Android TV, Apple TV, and Roku to watch on your TV.
The victim recalls the first time they met Jay-Z, describing him as a charismatic and influential figure. "I was thrilled to work with someone I admired so much," they say, their eyes lighting up briefly. They share how the collaboration began on a high note, with mutual respect and excitement about the project. However, subtle changes in tone and expectations made them question their position over time.
This man, so hard.
Who?
Usher was here last night, did a great concert. Chris Brown is now about to have a Quiet on Set type documentary.
You want to know what's funny?
Go, please. Yeah, I needed your take on this.
That's even happening.
I know. I said, what the I said, what the So I said, Jag is the first person I needed to hear from this. The fact that that's even happening. Give me your take.
I hate the fact that even me advocating for him might bring him more pain. They hate him. And Usher is like, he's the poster boy for booty hole baby oil and butt plugs. Like it's... And Chris Brown, and they keep trying. They did the same thing to Michael Jackson.
Same way.
They did the same thing. They just kept, for him, it was children. And for Chris, it's, you hit Rihanna. You a beat her for the rest of your life. You're a weirdo. Like, it's, we don't care that you're talented. We don't care that you don't hire lookalikes to come and do your concerts after people paid all that money to see you, like Usher did. Like, it's...
If the documentary does show something or tell something that is damning...
Anybody who wants to watch that needs to take into consideration that we live in the age of AI. And you can make a human being say anything you want them to if you have enough picture frames and if you have enough voice. But at the end of the day, we live in a day and age now where you can literally make a person say and do whatever you want them to. All you need is the right amount of pixels and the right amount of imagery, and you can make anybody say anything. Hey, well, wait a minute, didn't the DA thank me? The DA, in Diddy's case, thanked me too. Is that him or AI?
So Jack, there's a saying. There's a saying, and Vlad brought this up.
In a composed manner, the victim mentions that some of their experiences reminded them of moments Rihanna has hinted at in interviews. They emphasize that while they cannot speak for her, the similarities were hard to ignore. The clip subtly highlights how power dynamics in the industry often go unchecked, leaving individuals feeling unheard.
He's saying, of course, these documentaries tend to lead to like arrest.
Yeah.
And there's a saying that if there's smoke, there's fire.
Chris Brown at all costs.
There you go.
Every Chris Brown fan. Like I'm learning the sensational choreography because I got a little special plan. But I love that song, Sensational, with him and Davido. Why is it a #1 blockbuster hit everywhere in the world except for here? Maybe for the same reason that, you know, Rihanna's music is blocked. Have y'all noticed that?
Yeah.
They're blocking her records. Like if you go and try to add a song to a short, you know, the approved playlist when you put in search, you can't tag a Rihanna song to any of it. Not on Instagram at all. Why not? Especially anything from the Anti album. It was her best album. It was the least promoted. It came to mixed, no, it was amazing. But see, Sean Carter doesn't like to be embarrassed in public. And neither does his wife. And there were nothing but embarrassing things all through that album about them.
I got a random question.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on Janet Jackson?
That's a hard one. I love Janet. And I also know that Janet came up in a time where she was trying to find her own independence and trying to find her own voice. And she wasn't gonna let her daddy do to her what he did to her brother Michael.
The narrative shifts to a specific moment when the victim realized their working relationship with Jay-Z was no longer productive or comfortable. They describe how small, seemingly insignificant actions built up over time, creating an environment where they felt stifled. The paragraph captures their growing resolve to step away and protect their creative integrity.
Well, I had a friend that was one of my regulars that I would hang out with from time to time, and that person, I believe, is the person that they didn't rob me at gunpoint, but they stole the Cuban link that Cardi bought me for my birthday. Yeah, they stole it out of my house.
Wow.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah, it happens.
Yeah, I bought a couple more. I learned I got a safe now. Put my jewelry in a safe.
Yeah. Charge the game. You know, sometimes you got to
every
charge
L
it to
is
the
a
game.
lesson. You know,
yeah. Every L is a lesson.
The scary part of sleeping with somebody who would rob you is that to me, that idea that we're gonna go to sleep and lay next to each other, but you're plotting to steal from me.
It's happened to me before.
It happened to you?
I had a girl rob me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not take money out of my wallet and stuff like that.
That's crazy.
It's happened.
Yeah, and I'm not even that kind of person. Even when I
wasn't
never
even
had
that much money. It was like you went through all this for like $100. Like, okay.
Yeah,
that's
but
weird.
even when I didn't have anything, I was never the type of person that would think about like preying on people that I'm.
Hey man, some people just like stealing.
Yeah,
it's just a thing for some people.
I get it.
You know,
yes.
It's a short, it's a short-sighted way of thinking, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
Well, you and Rihanna and A$AP Rocky have been friends for a while. In fact, Rihanna gave you the first photo of her first child to actually show to the world.
She blessed me with that one. Her and Rocky did.
Okay, yeah, exactly. What's your take about A$AP Rocky beefing with Drake? Because I believe there's
is there a beef?
Yeah.
Right now?
Yeah.
Like a recent beef?
Yeah. Well, remember Drake gave him some bars on Family Matters.
Vlad, you're asking a gay man who don't pay attention.
All right, hold on.
I don't know. I don't know anything about their beef because we don't talk about those things. So I wouldn't know.
So Drake said, Rakim talking shit again. And of course, Rocky, that's his real name. Rakim talking shit again. Gas because you hit my BM first. Do the math. Who I was hitting then. What Drake is talking about was that he used to mess with Rihanna.
Listen, okay. You want to finish that so I can...
I'll just finish it. He said, I didn't even know you rap still because they only talk about your fit again. Probably got to have a kid again before you think of dropping any shit again. Even when you drop, they're going to say you should have modeled because it's mid again.
That's a recent song?
Well, that's Family Matters. That was during the whole beef with Kendrick.
Yeah, but nobody really heard it.
No, people heard that song.
Well,
yeah, that was the big Drake song out of the battle.
Let me say this because those are two grown men that whatever they got going on, they'll figure it out at some point. But
the victim shares their observations about how the entertainment industry often prioritizes protecting its most powerful figures over addressing concerns. They recount instances where they felt dismissed or unsupported when seeking guidance. The paragraph explores their disillusionment and the broader systemic challenges faced by artists.
Rocky is happy in his relationship, and she's happy with him. And I think anybody throwing Rihanna out in a bar is kind of whack when it's meant to hurt her or him because she's bigger than everybody we're talking about.
Rihanna's bigger than Drake?
She's not. Bank account bigger.
I think it's
bank account is bigger. Ain't no. You never heard Drake in billion. Now, if you say Drake's a billionaire, Vlad, I'm getting up and walking out of here because you know damn well that is not true. Maybe in Canadian currency, what is the? I don't know if you take a couple $100 million US and Canadian dollars, flip it, and maybe it's $1 billion Canadian coins. I don't know, but you know, again, I don't want to get into all of that because those.
No, you're right. I mean, when I looked it up, Rihanna has a alleged net worth of $1.4 billion.
So her conversations are at an altitude
Drake,
higher.
They're saying Drake is 250 million, which I think is a little bit low.
Okay.
He's probably maybe $500 million.
Okay, round him off to half. He's still half of, he's
about a third.
A third of, it's sort of like, those are when you have tax bracket conversations, you kind of got to like stay in your tax bracket.
Okay, fair enough. Well, why do you think, based on what you know about the relationship, they now have 2 kids together? How come they haven't gotten married?
You know, I would never talk about her relationship.
I figured that was going to be the answer, but I, still got to throw it out there.
Yeah, because I was on my way over here today and I said, he going to ask me a Rihanna question, I know. But let me say this. I genuinely love that girl. Like she held a dinner with me recently to help me raise money to help the kids back home. She came to the dinner by herself, stayed the entire time, met with every single person, took pictures with everybody. She's just a different type of person. So for that, I mean, I want to respect her relationship and whatever they got going on. But I will tell you this, if she gets married and I'm not invited to the wedding,
it's a problem.
I'll come back. I'll get invited. It's kind of fucked up to just like flippantly throw Rihanna's name in a diss track though, like she's some random girl. Like,
well, he didn't actually put her name in.
But even the reference.
As the victim's story gains attention, social media erupts with discussions. Fans express support and solidarity, while others question the timing of the revelations. The paragraph captures the mixed emotions surrounding the story, highlighting the power of collective voices in amplifying untold narratives.
Alongside rapper Sean Diddy Combs, that civil lawsuit filed against Combs in October was amended Sunday to include Jay-Z. The accuser, identified only as Jane Doe, says she was sexually assaulted by both men at a Video Music Awards after party in 2000. In a blistering statement, Jay-Z accuses Jane Doe's attorney of trying to blackmail him. He said further, quote, "These allegations are so heinous in nature that I implore you to file a criminal complaint, not a civil one. Whomever would commit such a crime against a minor should be locked away. Would you not agree?" He added, "My only heartbreak is for my family. My wife and I will have to sit our children down, one of whom is at the age where her friends will see the press and ask questions about the nature of these claims and explain the cruelty and greed of people." Joining us now, Joey Jackson, CNN legal analyst and criminal defense attorney and former prosecutor. There's a lot to unpack here. Joey, I want to start with just the statement from Jay-Z, which is so forceful in its denial. I just read a teeny part of it. It's long.
where he says that they should file a criminal complaint. Is that even possible at this point?
So based on the allegations, Jessica, good morning, good to see you. I think that it certainly could be. Why do I say that? Now, he, of course, is more than annoyed, would be an understatement. He has a family and he has a lot to protect, including his brand. But to the extent that he's saying, hey, come after me criminally, that could be likely. Why do I say that? Because rape in New York, and what's alleged in this complaint, is forcible compulsion. What that means in English is that it's saying that he held her down, raped her, and that, of course, the allegation is that Mr. Combs did the same thing. And so if those facts are actually accurate, it would require an investigation by prosecutors. And if true, right, you could pursue it criminally. Now, with respect to the evidentiary value, yes, it happened 24 years ago, right, more than 24 years ago. But in the allegations, there's a few things. Number one, there's allegation that another celebrity was present at the time, right, in addition to other people. Number two, there's the claim by the victim, right, that she left, that she went and she was seen by a gas attendant who saw her in distress. Number three, that she phone called her dad, who showed up, the 13-year-old, and now removed her. So civil complaint, simply allegations, needs to be proven in a court of law, but if true, it could rise to the level of criminality.
The clip explores moments from Rihanna's career where she alluded to challenges behind the scenes. Through interviews and public statements, she emphasized the importance of standing strong and advocating for oneself. The victim reflects on how these messages inspired them to find their own voice.
You know, we'll see what happens, or if the DA looks and investigates.
So what happens now?
So what happens now is this is simply a civil complaint. And in a civil complaint, it goes through the technical legal process. Now, the distinction, Jessica, between civil and criminal, of course, is that civil is for monetary damages, right? The system can only reward you with money. There's allegations that this 13-year-old is suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder, suffered depression, etc. So now you go to fact-finding, right? Before that, just briefly, there was a demand letter sent. And a demand letter is a letter being sent by a lawyer saying, hey, I don't have to sue you. We can sit, we can mediate it. If we reach an agreement, it never sees the light of day. Jay-Z saying, I don't care about your demand letter. I look at it as blackmail. You want to sue me, sue me. You want to look at it criminally, look at it criminally, but it'll go through the fact-finding process. If a trial is necessary to determine the facts, that's what will happen, but it'll be deemed civil. No indication at this point as to whether or not any criminal investigation will ensue as a result of this.
Yeah, and Jay-Z came back incredibly forcefully against these allegations and really singled out that attorney as well for being, I'm paraphrasing here, but greedy, saying he's out to get money, and calling that letter essentially blackmail.
Yeah, and in addition to that, Jessica, also suing the attorney, saying he's intimidating him, harassing him, etc. Now, demand letters are not new. What lawyers do is they send them out as a matter of protocol and practice so that you can expedite the process. At the same time, there's certain ethical standards that you have to use, and you have to have a good faith factual belief that this is true. Now, you can argue this complaint was filed in October, right? Could have mentioned Jay-Z then. You didn't. Why? It was amended now to include him. Are the factual assertions true? Are they fact or fiction? Is it a money grab or not? All of that will be litigated in a court of law, but according to Jay-Z, this never happened, is pure fiction. It is a money grab, and he's fighting for his name, reputation, and certainly innocence and justice in his view, which is he didn't have anything to do with it.
Yeah, and you touched on point two that I wanted to ask you about, which was that this was an amendment to this already existing lawsuit. What are people to take away from that? The fact that they're coming back and adding to this now with this specific name?
Yeah, you know, Jessica, so it depends. That's also common. You could amend lawsuits, right, as a matter of course, and you do, to include certain factual allegations. The interesting thing to me in terms of your question and the takeaway, if you had this information about Jay-Z, it happened allegedly in September of 2000, why not include it in the original complaint? What happened between October and now that necessitated you putting in, and it's a question of credibility. Was he celebrity A, right, as was noted in the October complaint? Is this pure fiction? And what's interesting in the complaint is he really, that is the lawyer, tries to tie Jay-Z to Mr. Combs in so many ways, right? Birds of a feather is the argument that he's making. You can make that argument. You need the facts to sustain it. Let's see if they come up with any facts.
Yes, all right, we will see.
A brief statement is issued by Jay-Z's representatives. asserting his commitment to fairness and respect in all his professional dealings. The victim acknowledges the response but reiterates the importance of shedding light on industry practices. The paragraph captures the careful balance between speaking out and respecting ongoing discussions.
Assault accusations connected to the case against Sean Diddy Combs. The latest involves hip-hop mogul Jay-Z, who issued a vehement denial.
This morning, a blistering response from Jay-Z after he was accused of sexually assaulting a 13-year-old girl more than 2 decades ago. The billionaire hip-hop mogul was added to an existing civil lawsuit against Sean Diddy Combs, citing an alleged incident after the 2000 VMAs, where the victim claims she was drugged and assaulted by both Diddy and Jay-Z while a third celebrity watched.
The judge has actually agreed that the victim can remain anonymous and that the case can proceed. So there seems to be a little bit more to this case.
Jay-Z vehemently denying the claim, writing, "These allegations are so heinous in nature that I implore you to file a criminal complaint. Whomever would commit such a crime against a minor should be locked away." Also saying, "My only heartbreak is for my family. My wife and I will have to sit our children down and explain the cruelty and greed of people. I mourn yet another loss of innocence." Jay-Z also attacked the attorney behind the lawsuit, Tony Busby, who fired back saying, "I won't be bullied or intimidated." Busby is behind at least 20 of the sexual assault lawsuits against Combs, who calls Busby's lawsuits shameless publicity stunts.
Combs' statement went on to say he has never sexually assaulted or trafficked anyone. Combs will stay in jail until his trial in May, but he has appealed the most recent decision to deny him bail. That ruling...
Other artists begin sharing their own stories of navigating power dynamics in the industry. Without implicating Jay-Z directly, they support the victim's courage in speaking out. The clip emphasizes the growing solidarity among artists advocating for healthier creative spaces.
To rapper Sean Diddy Combs, a lawsuit the music mogul is calling, quote, a blackmail attempt. Now, in the documents obtained by TMZ, Jay-Z is named by an anonymous accuser who says the rapper and Diddy drugged and raped her back in 2000. The plaintiff, who is suing as Jane Doe, says the alleged assault occurred at an after-party following the MTV Video Music Awards. Now, the accuser originally filed a lawsuit against Diddy in October in which she claimed the Bad Boy Records founder and an unnamed celebrity proceeded to assault her while an unnamed female watched. The accuser has since named Jay-Z as the other celebrity in the alleged assault, as she refiled her lawsuit against Diddy to include his name on Sunday. Jay-Z's representatives have responded to the lawsuit with a statement from the rap mogul, who says that he was determined, quote, to expose the accuser for the fraud they are. To speak more on this, I do want to bring in Andrew Cherkasky, who is a former federal prosecutor and military veteran, who is now a high-profile criminal defense and civil trial lawyer. Andrew, we appreciate you taking the time to join us here on Live Now from Fox.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
So I did want to ask you this. The accuser originally filed this lawsuit back in October, only naming Sean Diddy Combs, now amending that lawsuit to include the name of Jay-Z. Initial reactions to this, does that shock you? And from your legal perspective, why might this change have occurred?
Well, these are very serious allegations, but Jay-Z has vehemently denied them. We have been seeing this trend since the criminal case was brought. There has been this influx of allegations from civil attorneys bringing civil lawsuits, looking for a really gigantic amount of money from both Diddy as well as those that they say were involved. One of the trends that I think is very concerning is this idea that they name an unnamed individual and then they send essentially a demand to their representatives and to them individually for some sort of settlement prior to them revealing the name? Can they resolve that? And it appears here with Jay-Z that this type of demand went to Jay-Z. He said he's not paying a penny. In fact, he said not a red cent, suggesting he sees this as blood money, and that he was not going to do this, and that he's the victim of an extortion scheme. That could be the case, and that could be something that as time goes by, we see more information about whether these allegations really were founded in sufficient truth to bring them forward in the first place.
So what are the next public reaction?
The victim reflects on how the media can shape public perception, both positively and negatively. They express gratitude for platforms that have allowed their voice to be heard, while cautioning against sensationalism. The paragraph underscores the responsibility of storytelling in bringing about meaningful change.
Those allegations to the extent that he's able to do so, just as he's been doing in the media. So this will be something that goes on for an extended period of time, but this will come down to the facts and potentially testimony about what did or didn't happen.
And Andrew, for our viewers, I wanted to share this. This is the statement that Jay-Z released. Quote, "These allegations are so heinous in nature that I implore you to file a criminal complaint, not a civil one. Whomever would commit such a crime against a minor should be locked away. Would you not agree? These alleged victims would deserve real justice if that were the case. This lawyer, who I have done a bit of research on, seems to have a pattern of these types of theatrics." And so, Andrew, taking a look at this, and also I did also want to ask you, when it comes to the alleged victim, the person who is filing this lawsuit, right now, this is a Jane Doe situation. Is there any circumstance where a judge would compel this individual to reveal her identity or their identity publicly because of the high-profile nature and the seriousness of these allegations?
Well, to kind of piece that apart, first, Jay-Z says, bring this in criminal court. Well, we have to note that the DOJ has not named him, has not brought those allegations, and I think that they would be very interested in a case like this if there were actual criminal acts that occurred. So you have to wonder why this hasn't been handled criminally to start with. The standard in a civil court is much lower than in a criminal court, beyond a reasonable doubt in a criminal court, preponderance of the evidence in a civil court. As for the name of the victim and whether she can remain a Jane Doe or whether that will come out as her actual name, there is precedent for both being the case. And it deals with a number of factors concerning the publicity, the ability to defend yourself, the ability to rebut things in public. So there have been folks who have been forced to reveal their names in the Diddy case so far. And also many people are going by the Jane Does. So we'll see what happens, but there will be a point of reckoning where that story will have to be told in an open courtroom with a jury and determinations made if this pursues itself all the way to the end.
Andrew, before we let you go, is there anything else that
The conversation doesn't end there. Jay-Z's assertion that he and his family are being blackmailed has sparked another layer of intrigue.
Yeah. So my name is Jonathan Hay. I'm a publicist. I've been doing this for 25 years at a pretty high level with a bunch of major clients and stuff like that. Throughout the years, people can Google it and see the stuff that I've done and that type of thing. But, I want to say something real quick when we jump off. I was just sitting here thinking about some of the people who are discrediting, because I've been speaking out for, just like for the last few months, and people have been trying to discredit me. And I see that they try to discredit Jaguar, right? And the thing I want to say about that is, to start it off, is like, I challenge academics who is a journalist. He's an investigative journalist. And he was rated the #1 media guy. And he likes to take deep dives into things. To take a deep dive into my relationship with Drake, since he likes to cover Drake, and looking to see that if I didn't do a deal with Drake and Future the Prince this year, 2024, I challenge academics to look and see, contact Future the Prince, contact Drake, and see if we didn't do a deal this year. And I say all that to say, because if I can touch Drake, pause, no Diddy, if I can touch Drake, if I can go that high to the biggest artist in the world, then there's no telling where I can go. And so my credibility should never be called into question, because I've done deals with Drake this year, and that's fact. And if anybody ever trying to discredit that, like an academics or anything, he can contact Drake direct, ask about me, and ask if we did not do a deal this year. Secondly, a lot of people have been hitting me about, how could Jaguar Wright know all these things, right? And how, Jaguar Wright hasn't worked with Jay-Z since, when she did the Unplugged. That's a long time ago. Is the people that have contacted me since I've done like your show and since I've done other shows, people have contacted me, other victims, and have sent me. Obviously, there's been some people that have sent me stuff that, doesn't check out or whatever, but victims have contacted me and they have sent me proof that can never be disputed, photos, everything else, because they don't want to bring their story out, but they like what we're doing. So they're whistleblowing, but they're doing quietly to protect their jobs and to protect their families and to protect, whatever. They're not comfortable speaking out. So if I've got all kinds of information in the last 2 months, just from doing, shows like you guys, I can't imagine all the stuff that Jaguar Wright has got and to her, and the access that she's seen and the people who have came to her. Like, she has such a bigger reach and such a bigger audience than me. It's and mine is getting to the point where it's overwhelming of people reaching out who have suffered abuse from Diddy, from Jay-Z, and from these celebrities. Sorry about that. I was just thinking about that right now. So
no, please. So if you don't mind letting us know, after you came on and did your interview with us, what has come your way as far as, let's just say, either backlash or just trying to discredit you, or like, what can you let us know kind of what?
There hasn't been any backlash as far as, like, what Jaguar has experienced, right? And I was just watching Academics the other day, and he was being objective about her, but he was also saying, like, he didn't believe her. And when I'm saying to Academics is just what I told you, fact check me, right? Put your investigative journalist hat on and fact check me about Drake and I. Like I was saying, fact check me. And Jaguar has more information than I do. So to anybody who...
The victim shares how they have worked to rebuild their confidence and reclaim their passion for music. They describe moments of introspection, seeking mentorship, and focusing on personal growth. The paragraph highlights their resilience and determination to continue creating on their own terms.
Back in your life that you really don't, even they don't think you still remember what you've done for them. I'm thinking about, my trial, my family, my real friends, my boss at work, the real people that played a superior role to get me to where I'm at right now. So it's just Silent Kings.
Can you name a couple of those people that played a role? Because we like to show love to the underground, the street stars.
From the very beginning, shout out to Panama. He, Jay don't mention him in none of the records at all, but he was definitely, it was just four of us, me, Panama, my Uncle Buzz, and Jay himself. Speaking for those names. Then you got my mom, you got my family, you got key roles of people that's like the Silent Kings things, man. Even my mentors, the OGs that raised me, that's gone and stuff, That's just who the Silent Kings was, I learned from Big Stan, Calvin and stuff, my Uncle Calvin and all this. Like, these are all Silent Kings, people that meant something to me in my life, man. And just can't forget them. And I just want them to know, when they look at this and be proud of me, where I'm at and what I'm doing now, let them know I just didn't forget them. And this is everything that...
Rihanna posts a photo with the caption, "Truth has a way of finding the light." The victim interprets this as a subtle nod of encouragement, inspiring them to stay the course. The clip captures the quiet power of support and shared experiences.
Remind them that I'm always thinking of them.
Now, as a young dude, I was watching the interview. We said, man, you had a different childhood.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you started off in the streets very early. When you talk about things like your mom, like when she seen you, you know, what you were becoming or what you were stepping into, what was her reactions to things like that?
Know what you're doing. Very protective. I mean, she protected me to a point where she moved me out of New York. You know what I'm saying? Because she seen that me making a different turn in life.
Where'd she move you to?
She moved me to New Jersey. Her and my coach, actually. My coach suggested it, like, because my coach was like, yo, you know, if he gonna give up on school, this is gonna be his last chance right here. This is a decent basketball program he can go to and stuff. I think he can get some love over there. He got some key players over there that was going to the D1 schools. You know what I'm saying? So I ended up going to that school, getting transferred out of New York, going to that school.
Wait, what age was this?
This was 16. Getting transferred out of New York. I get in Jersey, and I get in this school, and it was something like I've never seen before. Like I've seen hustling dudes before, but to go to another city, go to another state and city and see a whole different vibe. Like everybody in this school was hustling.
So what was the difference between New York and New Jersey?
New York, that a lot of young dudes hustling in New York didn't have that kind of money. You know, they was more into fashion and this and that and the third. They would be spending their bread up on jewelry, fashion, and clothes, right? But them Jersey dudes, they didn't have a lot of access to stuff. So they just saved money. But when I got in that high school there and I seen dudes pushing Porsches and Benzes and iced out coming to school and, you know, gambling, watching. In high school. You know what I'm saying? The whole time now, my cousin, you know, he taking me to school, putting me on and things, but he ain't telling me what he doing. You get what I'm saying? But when we get into high school, everybody like, Whitey, you know, he's that dude, you know what I'm saying? But he known as a gambler, you know what I'm saying? And he would always be like, yo, I'm going on the back exit. So when I finally see what's going on the back exit, I'm talking about these dudes is dice games in high school with $20,000, $30,000 on the floor. And I'm like, oh shit, I ain't never seen these many.
The victim outlines their hopes for the future, emphasizing the need for open conversations about professional boundaries and respect in the entertainment industry. They express a desire to use their platform to empower others, ensuring that future generations face fewer obstacles.
Be doing these things, and obviously we would never say anything, but you've connected so many unanswered questions and stuff that we would talk about, that we were too scared to like bring up. It's like, wow, because I didn't think of Rihanna as a human. I thought her as a client. I didn't think of her as a minor. I thought of her as a client and as an artist.
That I know in LA that they had taking her out and taking her to all the parties and clubs. They didn't find out that she was underage until they went to the Rainbow Room one night and she couldn't provide ID. They were told she was 21 when in all actuality, she had just turned 17. You remember when she was in LA, right after Upon the Replay broke, that was around the time where they were moving you out and putting her new handlers in.
Right. That's facts. It was a really
She needed you. She needed her original team. And they removed y'all to make sure she had nobody to outcry to.